It appears the courts and not the state legislature will get to decide whether you show an ID at the polls when you vote. Now, earlier this week, a federal court struck down the voter ID law, saying it's unconstitutional. Before the decision came out, Governor Walker said he would call lawmakers back to Madison if the law needed to be changed. But today in Appleton, the governor said it may be best to wait and see what happens in the courts. Fox 11's Andrew LaCombe has balanced coverage of what happens next.
I think this will ultimately be decided in the courts.
Governor Scott Walker is confident the voter ID law will be upheld in the appeal process, and he says for now he won't be calling lawmakers back to Madison for a special session.
When we talked about this earlier in the year, we thought at both the state and the federal level, if the court had given any hint to something that they thought needed to be tweaked, it might be worthy of taking legislative action.
On Tuesday, U.S. District Judge Lynn Edelman said he doesn't think the legislature can make the law constitutional. He wrote, "Given the evidence presented at trial showing that blacks and Latinos are more likely than whites to lack an ID, it is difficult to see how an amendment to the photo ID requirement could remove its disproportionate racial impact and discriminatory result." Democratic State Representative Eric Genrich of Green Bay supports the judge's decision because he opposes the law.
This isn't solving any problem. It's just creating problems for voters who are seeking access to our polls.
The voter ID requirement was passed in 2011. It was quickly challenged in court and put on hold in 2012. Two other challenges to the law are still pending in the Wisconsin Supreme Court. In order for the law to be in effect for November, the state Supreme Court would have to rule the law doesn't violate the state constitution, and the federal court decision would have to be overturned on appeal. Governor Walker says it's impossible to know what will happen with the law.
So it's really up to the courts, and my guess would be, as it has been in the past, it'll be a lengthy process, and I wouldn't put money on it being one way or the other.
Andrew LaCombe, Fox 11 News.
The voter ID law was only in place for one election, a low turnout primary in February of 2012.